Colonel Sohail, please tell us a little about Boko Haram's background history and also its present acts of terrorism.
In the beginning, I would like to highlight that Boko Haram phenomenon is not new, as it existed since last 13 years. It was founded in the year 2002 and promotes a version of Islam which makes it haram, that is forbidden, for Muslims to take part in any political or social activity akin to Western society. But in the regional language, Boko means faith and is used here to signify Western education. So the complete name implied that the Western education is forbidden. Boko Haram believes that politics in northern Nigeria has been seized by a group of corrupt false Muslims, and it is hence in the process of waging a war against them to create a pure Islamic state ruled by Sharia law. That means they are not only interested in banning Western education and promoting Islamic education, but also have a political objective of creating an Islamic state. They still refuse to send their children to government-run Western schools. And this is a problem which has been compounded by the ruling group, which does not see education as a priority of their government. When Boko Haram began its operations, it was generally assumed that its real goal was to fight Western influence. But then it gradually became clear that this was just a cover story, and their actual goal is to destabilize Nigeria in a big way through violence and enforcement of their version of Sharia. In the year 2009, Boko Haram carried out a spate of attacks on police stations and other government buildings in Maiduguri, which is the capital of Borno State. This led to shootouts on Maiduguri streets, in which hundreds of Boko Haram supporters were killed and thousands of residents fled the city. Nigeria's security forces eventually seized the group's headquarters at Govoza, capturing some of its fighters and even killed its founder. But then they regrouped under a new leader named Abu Bakr Shekau and stepped up their insurgency. In 2013, the United States of America designated it as a terrorist organization amid fears that it had developed links with other militant groups such as Al-Qaeda to wage a global jihad. Boko Haram declared a caliphate in areas it controlled in 2014. But then most of the territories were recaptured by the Nigerian army. Boko Haram's method of operation was originally the use of gunmen on motorbikes, killing police, politicians, and anyone who criticized it, including clerics from other Muslim groups and even Christian preachers. The group had also carried out bold attacks in northern and central Nigeria, including bombing of churches, buses, bars, military barracks, and even the police and United Nations headquarters. It draws its fighters mainly from the Kanuri ethnic group, which is the largest in the three states. Most Kanuris have distinctive facial features and are easily identifiable to other Nigerians. So as a result, the militants operate mainly in the northeast, where the terrain is also familiar to them. In April 2014, Boko Haram drew international condemnation when it abducted more than 200 schoolgirls from Chibuk town in Borno State, saying it would treat them as slaves and would marry them. And this had caused an outrage across Nigeria. In August 2014, Mr. Shekau declared a caliphate in area under Boko Haram's control, with the town of Govoza as its seat of power. He declared that he had nothing to do with Nigeria. Later, Mr. Shekau formally pledged allegiance to Islamic State, that is ISIS, turning his back on Al-Qaeda. ISIS accepted their pledge, naming the territory under Boko Haram's control as the Islamic State of West Africa province, and as a part of the global caliphate it was trying to establish. The later events in March this year went against Boko Haram and it lost all the towns under its control because a regional coalition made up of troops from Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad and Niger was formed to fight it. Boko Haram retreated to the Sambisa forest where the Nigerian military pursued it and was able to free hundreds of captives. While many fighters have been killed and weapons seized, it is too early to consider them fully harnessed. Boko Haram lost its capital, Govoza, and most of its occupied territories while it is still controlling southern part of Borno state, an estimated area of 50,000 kilometers since January this year. It has a fighting force estimated to be between 8,000 and 10,000 people and now are generally resorting to bombing. Through its raids on military bases and banks, it has been able to gain control of vast amounts of weapons and money. The threat Boko Haram poses will disappear only if Nigeria's government manages to reduce the region's chronic poverty and builds an education system which gains the support of local Muslims.